Yvette Neville was hosting a birthday party. The venue was the largest five-star hotel in town. She had sent invitations to nearly 90 people in our course, except for 3. Me and my 2 best friends. The class WhatsApp group was buzzing with excitement, everyone complimenting her. The dormitory was also in an uproar. Wow, the Gilt Royal Hotel. A 5-star luxury hotel. I've never been to such a posh place in my life. Thanks to Yvette, we get to experience such a fancy place. Yeah, I can't believe we'll get to live like the upper class for a day. Yvette's family must be incredible. Yvette chimed in, "Oh, it's nothing. I've been going to places like this with my dad since I was little. I'm used to it." I was wearing headphones, reading a book. "Could you all keep it down a bit?" "You're disturbing me," I said. The noise level dropped slightly. But then someone deliberately asked, "Tamara, have you ever even heard of the Gilt Royal in your life?" I was all too familiar with this 5-star hotel. This hotel was a brand under my father's Quincy Group. I answered truthfully, "Yes, my family owns it." As expected, this statement was met with raucous laughter. Yvette sneered, "How does mocking you benefit us?" I couldn't help but laugh inwardly. Hosting a birthday party at my family's hotel and accusing me of being jealous? Just then, my dad called me. "Darling daughter, Dad's got a dinner at the Gilt Royal on Saturday. Would you like to come?" "I'd love to," I replied. As soon as I said this, I noticed several pairs of eyes turned towards me. Not wanting others to overhear the call, I went out to the balcony. Dad continued, "Great, you can bring friends too. How many invitations should I have sent over?" "3, please. For my 2 best friends and my boyfriend." "Oh, bringing the boyfriend along, are we? You can introduce him to some of your impressive contacts. He's quite accomplished himself." When I returned to the dorm, Yvette's face was brimming with poorly concealed smugness. "If you want to attend my birthday party, just say so. There's no shame in it. No need to sneak outside to talk about it." I was momentarily stunned, then felt like laughing. They must have thought my "I'd love to" was about wanting to attend her birthday party. She's been full of herself for 2 years now. This was the perfect opportunity to bring her back down to earth. When I first started university, I helped a friend share a giveaway link on Twitter. That's when Yvette Neville labeled me as poor. I couldn't be bothered to explain. Back in secondary school, everyone knew my dad had donated a couple of buildings to the school. Because of that, I was once cornered and mugged by some hooligans from the estate across the road. Of course, they paid the price for it. My dad was worried something like that might happen again. Before I went off to uni, he warned me that unless absolutely necessary, I should never flaunt my wealth, but keep a low profile. So I didn't really care if others thought I was poor. But the real reason Yvette seemed to dislike me so much, I reckon it's because during Freshers Week, the lad she fancied rejected her public confession with flowers, only to turn around and confess to me instead. I turned him down, of course. I didn't even know the bloke. But Yvette was having none of it. She felt that despite showering this guy with expensive gifts, she'd somehow lost out to a poor girl like me. She spread rumors that I'd deliberately seduced him knowing she fancied him. After that, she used her posh girl image to form cliques and isolate me. I couldn't care less. I couldn't be bothered to waste time deliberately developing social connections. What's the point? We'd probably never see each other again after graduation. Who cares? I tidied myself up to go meet my boyfriend, Zeb Goddard. He's the senior who helped me move in on my first day, now in his final year. Handsome, top grades, excellent and ambitious. "Darling, are you free Saturday night? I want to take you somewhere special." I was all excited, gazing at Zeb's handsome face. My mood instantly lifted. Saturday? I'm actually busy then. How about Sunday? Why, what are you up to? An interview? He hesitated for a moment before saying, "Yes, that's right." "Really? You look a bit off." "I wanted to take you to meet my dad on Saturday." He suddenly cut me off. "Tamara, I don't want to lie to you. Actually, your flatmate Yvette invited me to her birthday party. I need to make an appearance. Can I make it up to you on Sunday? I felt my hands and feet go cold. What do you mean? Don't you know how she's been treating me? Zeb knew full well about my issues with Yvette. In fact, he knew better than anyone. I'd complained to him about her countless times before, and Zeb would often advise me not to bother with her. I just never imagined this was what he meant by not bothering. I know you dislike Yvette, but we need to separate personal feelings from networking opportunities. He spoke more urgently. Listen, I don't want to miss out on a chance to expand my connections and mingle with high society just because of personal grudges. Can't you understand that, Tamara? I looked at him. I realized I could hardly recognize this man anymore. That pure-hearted, principled lad I once knew seemed to have vanished. I said, with your abilities, you could easily get into a top firm through normal channels. At your age, you still don't get it. I don't just want a foot in the door, I want fast-track opportunities to climb the ladder. I wanted to introduce you to my dad, maybe he could help you. In that moment, I caught a glimpse of disdain in Zeb's eyes. He frowned. Tamara, don't be silly. Yvette said her brother would be there too. I agreed for the sake of my future. Can't you stop being so childish? I was about to tell him that. My dad is the CEO of Quincy Group. Now, I suddenly didn't want to say anything at all. I quietly let go of him. Okay, if you want to go, then go. I won't stop you. Feel free to expand your so-called network. That evening, the family driver called. He said he'd arrived with the invitation for Saturday's dinner. I composed myself, then went out with my friend Winter to meet the driver. As we turned the corner, Winter elbowed me hard. I felt like I'd been plunged into ice water. Not far away, Zeb and Yvette were walking towards us, chatting and laughing. Their hands kept brushing against each other, the distance between them rather intimate. Like they were on the verge of crossing that line. And on Zeb's feet. He was wearing the limited edition trainers I'd given him for Valentine's Day. But he was wearing them to meet the person I despised most. When he saw me, the smile on Zeb Goddard's face froze. I still remember telling him how much I loved his smile. He had promised me, since you love my smile so much, I'll only smile for you from now on. But in that moment, something crumbled inside me. I looked at Zeb and said, you two seem to be having a nice chat. Tamara, why don't you head back to the dorm? Yvette and I were just discussing something, he replied. Zeb Goddard, whose boyfriend are you exactly? Winter couldn't stand it anymore. You're wearing the shoes Tamara bought you to meet another girl. Have you no shame? Yvette, who had been watching from the side, suddenly tilted her head innocently and said, don't misunderstand. Tamara, Zeb was actually trying to get you an invitation to my birthday party. I stared at Zeb for a long moment, then suddenly laughed. I was completely disappointed in him now, and didn't want to say another word. I couldn't care less about your birthday party. Don't try to make me sick, I said. With that, I pulled Winter away with me. It's not that I'm too fragile. But why did my eyes suddenly start to sting? I tilted my head back, desperately telling myself, he's not worth it. This kind of person really isn't worth it. I tore up the last invitation and threw it in the bin, then sent Zeb one final message, let's end this here. Yvette returned to the dorm just before curfew, beaming with joy. Pearl eagerly greeted her. How did it go? Didn't you say you had a date with your dream guy? Did you seal the deal? I thought back to the past few days. Every time Yvette came back to the dorm, she would talk about where she and her dream guy had gone for walks, what they had chatted about. But it was only today that I realized. This dream guy was Zeb Goddard. So they had met many times before, and I had been kept in the dark like a fool. Yvette said, I'm not sure, but I kissed him and he didn't say anything. What do you think that means? My breath caught in my throat. A wave of nausea came over me. My phone vibrated. Zeb had replied to my message. Tamara, sometimes people have to make sacrifices to achieve their goals. So her kissing you and you not avoiding it was also your sacrifice? I asked. He replied, yes. After a while, he sent a series of messages one after another. I thought he was going to say a lot to try and win me back, but instead, "Tamara, I've really had enough of you. Can't you learn from Yvette? Even though you two have personal grudges, at least she doesn't take it out on me. She even generously invited me to her birthday party. And if Yvette is really targeting you like you say, why is it only you and not anyone else? Have you ever thought about reflecting on yourself? I didn't believe Yvette when she said bad things about you before, but now I see she was right. You don't have a princess's fate, but you have a princess complex. You're arrogant and self-righteous. If you want to break up, fine. Let's delete each other on WhatsApp. Just don't regret it later." I felt sad and ridiculous at the same time, but also somewhat relieved that I had seen this man's true colors before introducing him to my dad. Me, regret it? Who do these two think they are? I deleted him, but that doesn't mean I'm letting them off the hook so easily. In our group chat, my two best friends were fuming. "You haven't even broken up with him, and he dares to do this? He's clearly two-timing you." I took photos of that cheating couple. "Tamara, send me your chat logs. I'm going to expose them on Twitter." I held back my anger. "No, don't do that yet. Aren't they going to have a birthday party at my dad's hotel? Well, tomorrow, I'll make sure her fall is as hard as her high horse. As for Zeb, he'll soon realize he's been nothing but a joke all along." The girls in the dorm were still noisily discussing what dress to wear to Yvette's birthday party. I packed my things, preparing to go home. Yvette deliberately called out to me, "Tamara, where are you off to so late? It's not safe to stay at a hotel, you know." I spat out one word, "Sod off." Sitting in my family's Maybach, Yvette sent me a provocative WhatsApp message. "You think being pretty is enough? Let me tell you, men are very practical." I replied, "So you admit I'm prettier than you? At least you're self-aware." "Yvette, my brother has his own listed company, and he's got special connections with the Quincy Group. He can even help with his career. What about you? No power, no influence, no money. What can you offer Zeb? I wish you two scumbags a happy life together. Hope you're stuck with each other." I made sure to screenshot these chat logs. Since she's so keen to show off, I have no reason not to let her shine on her birthday. "Dad, where's the key to that Rolls-Royce you bought me?" "Which drawer in the cabinet?" As I walked in, I saw that my dad wasn't alone in the living room. A cool and dignified man sat on the leather sofa, a subtly luxurious watch gleaming on his wrist. His gaze swept over me, neither cold nor warm. "Uncle Richie," I quickly greeted him. He smiled at me. My dad nodded approvingly. "Finally, you're not letting that Rolls-Royce gather dust in the garage." "It's in the bottom drawer." Just before bed, my phone suddenly vibrated. Surprisingly, it was a message from Zeb. I must emphasize one thing. Although Yvette's family background is much better than yours, the fundamental reason for our breakup is not these external factors, but that our values and personalities don't match. I, Zeb Goddard, have always been upright and honest. I'm certainly not the type to love wealth and despise poverty. All right, you don't need to reply. I couldn't help but laugh. Suddenly, I heard footsteps behind me. Turning around, the first thing I saw was long legs wrapped in gray suit trousers. Richie Neville walked up beside me. His voice was deep and magnetic. "Who's bullying our little princess? Tell Uncle Richie all about it." The next day, I changed into the haute couture dress I had recently custom-made and slung on my Hermes bag. I went to the garage and got into the Rolls-Royce my dad had bought me, dressed to the nines for the gilt pool dinner. At the entrance of the largest ballroom in the hotel, I encountered the throng of classmates coming to celebrate Yvette's birthday. When they saw me, there was surprise, but more so, admiration. In contrast, Yvette wore heavy eye makeup and a sparkly strapless dress. It was flashy, but vulgar. When she glimpsed me, Yvette's expression changed for a moment, but she quickly smirked. "What's this? I didn't invite certain people, yet they still show up uninvited?" Just as she finished speaking, Zeb walked over. He was also surprised to see me for a moment. "Tamara? On his wrist, there was now a Cartier watch. He probably remembered his not loving wealth and despising poverty statement and quietly pulled down his sleeve to cover it. Yvette took the opportunity to link arms with him, chin slightly raised. "Since you've come uninvited, let me introduce you. This is my boyfriend, Zeb. I'm not interested in your affairs, and besides," I smiled, "please check for yourself, is this place the venue for your birthday party?" A girl nearby turned to look. "Wow, the Gilt Pool dinner. I saw it on the news last time. I heard only the local bigwigs can attend. Surely Tamara and her friends can't be here for this?" Winter spoke up. "We are here for this. Who cares about your little birthday party?" With that, we turned and walked towards the entrance. Behind us, we heard Yvette's disdainful voice, hilarious, as if they could get in. Just then, the waiter at the dinner entrance recognized me. He bowed respectfully to me. "This way, Miss Quincy." I didn't even need to show any invitation, I entered smoothly with my friends. Yvette's expression was momentarily shocked. The next second, she was determined. She immediately stepped forward, intending to come in as well. But she was stopped by the waiter's outstretched hand at the door. "May I see your invitation, please?" Yvette's face froze. "Invitation? I don't have one." The waiter's programmed smile turned cold. "I'm sorry then, you can't enter." "Yvette, what do you mean? That girl just went in without an invitation, why can't we?" "Waiter, Miss Quincy is different from you. She's our VIP guest." Pearl pointed at Yvette and said, "Do you know who our Yvette is?" The waiter smiled. "No, I don't. Never seen or heard of her." Yvette Neville and Zeb Goddard's expressions froze. The waiter, having said his piece, turned to attend to other VIP guests, no longer paying attention to this group. A young lady in an expensive gown, entering the venue, glanced at Yvette and her friends, covering her mouth as she chuckled softly. "How embarrassing." Yvette's face fell, but she struggled to maintain a smile. Turning around, she said, "Well, you know, my brother offered me a few invitations, but since I was planning my birthday party, I said no. Let's go, shall we?" Zeb, arm in arm with her, started walking back. However, he kept looking back towards the dinner venue. I couldn't help but laugh. Not long after they went in, Winter Calvert showed me the messages in our WhatsApp group. "Tamara Quincy is so cool. She's actually attending the Gilt Pool dinner. I heard only socialites get invited to that. She must be something special." Pearl Chamberlain replied, "Maybe she's just there as a hostess. You know, it's quite normal for uni students to have part-time jobs these days." Another classmate chimed in, but her gown looked like haute couture, and her bag was Hermes. Yvette spoke up, "It's not impossible to rent these things nowadays." Pearl added, "That's right. Yvette's family has loads of haute couture gowns." Winter typed, "Really? If she has so many, why didn't she wear one today?" The group suddenly went quiet. After a long pause, Yvette finally replied, "Come on, darlings, I've always been low-key. There's no need to dress up like a princess for just a birthday, unlike some people." Winter laughed, leaning on my shoulder. "Low-key? She might as well have 'I'm the richest in school' written on her forehead." I, who had been lurking for a while, finally surfaced to accept this compliment. "Thanks for saying I look like a princess." At that moment, Zeb sent me another message. "Tamara, are you working as a hostess at the Gilt Pool dinner?" I couldn't believe he had the nerve to text me. Even more ridiculous was his next message. "Today is Yvette's birthday. I hope you'll be sensible, do your job, and not upset her. Just focus on kissing your lady's feet. Stay out of matters that don't concern you." With that, I blocked his number. Meanwhile, in the group chat, Pearl was changing the subject. "I'll let you in on a secret. Yvette's being modest, but her dad bought her a car as a birthday gift." "What kind of car?" "Pearl, it's still a secret, but I'll give you a hint, it's white. I saw a brand new white Rolls-Royce at the entrance earlier." Reading these chat logs, I couldn't help but laugh. The photo this classmate took was of the Rolls-Royce I had driven here today. This is hilarious. They're saying your car is a birthday gift from her dad to Yvette, and she's not denying it, as if she's confirming it. How dare she? Haha. Why rush? This is just the appetizer. As I was laughing, I forked a delicate petit four into my mouth. Suddenly, I met Richie Neville's eyes. He raised his wine glass and gently clinked it with mine in the air. The mature and handsome man was like a fine wine, fragrant and captivating. You seem in a much better mood today, he said. I flashed him a brilliant smile. Of course, I'm feeling absolutely delightful. Was that your ex-boyfriend who was stopped at the door earlier? I pursed my lips. Yes. He doesn't deserve you. You deserve better. In my eyes, Richie Neville had always been the image of a shrewd businessman, strategizing and making decisive moves in the business world. He was 7 years older than me, yet he was of the same generation as my father. I never imagined he would say such things to me. My heart fluttered inexplicably. Uncle, you make a good point. After my father came down from the stage after giving his speech, I linked arms with him, following him to greet his business partners. When we had a moment alone, he asked me, Tamara, didn't you say you wanted to introduce your boyfriend to Dad? My eyes darkened. No need for that now. He said I had no power or influence, and that he couldn't stand my princess attitude. He broke up with me. My father's face immediately turned cold. My little princess, who we've doted on since childhood, how could she have a princess complex? Indeed, he's gone off to another wealthy female classmate. He even submitted his CV to our company's headquarters recently. My father immediately called over his executive assistant. The assistant asked, Mr. Quincy, what can I do for you? Instruct the HR departments of both the headquarters and all branch companies to look out for the CV of a young man named Zeb Goddard. Regardless of what stage of the interview process he's at, terminate his application to any company under the Quincy Group. And also give a heads up to all the major companies we collaborate with. The assistant nodded. Understood, I'll follow up immediately. I leaned on my father's arm. Thank you, Dad. Meanwhile, I saw in the group chat that Yvette's party was coming to an end, and they were preparing to leave. Sure enough, at the Central Riverview Terrace, I ran into their large group. Yvette raised her chin. Tamara, how was your experience working today? It must have been quite a struggle to rent that designer dress. She continued without waiting for a response. I suppose you've never been to such a high-class hotel before. It's understandable though. Even though we're in the same dorm, it's not your fault you couldn't afford a birthday gift for me. After all, it must be hard for you to earn money, right everyone? Yvette's words were laced with venom. It was clear she wanted to get back at me, trying to appear nonchalant. But I wasn't provoked. Where's that brother of yours who owns a company? He doesn't seem to have come to your birthday party today. Wasn't he supposed to be introduced to everyone? Winter chimed in. Yeah. Don't tell me you don't actually have such a brother? She panicked for a moment, then said, my brother did come. He said he'd be here in a bit. Just then, an observant classmate spotted Richie Neville walking towards us from the opposite direction. The man's extraordinary aura immediately attracted everyone's attention. He was talking with his assistant, not noticing us, seemingly about to leave. That's the business tycoon from the financial magazines, Richie Neville. I heard he's already at the helm of Neville Modern Group at such a young age. He's incredibly impressive. Pearl immediately transformed into a fangirl. Yvette, so your brother is actually Richie Neville. Just because they shared the same surname. I was about to drop my jaw at such a wild guess. Yvette didn't deny it. Seeing my surprised reaction, she was clearly satisfied. My brother is very busy, managing countless affairs. If there's a chance, I'll have him treat everyone to dinner. Of course, I still won't invite certain people. This was her way of hinting to everyone that Richie Neville was indeed her brother. At this moment, I noticed Zeb tightening his grip on her hand. Is that so? I smiled, then called out to Richie Neville, brother, could you come over for a moment? The classmates collectively gasped. Tamara is so thick-skinned, daring to call someone else's brother like that. Richie Neville stopped in his tracks. He walked towards us. I ran over and linked my arm with his. Richie, I can't believe your sister is in my class, I said, looking up at him. As our eyes met, Richie immediately understood the situation. Zeb Goddard frowned deeply, staring at our linked arms. Beside him, Yvette's face had turned pale, despite her blusher, frozen like a statue. Suddenly, Zeb raised his hand towards Richie. "You must be Yvette's brother." "I'm Zeb." "No need for introductions," Richie interrupted, his brow furrowed slightly. "I'm only here to clarify one thing, I have no sister. Don't go claiming false relations." His words caused a stir among my classmates, their expressions a mix of shock and intrigue. "Wow, turns out Yvette's the one with a thick skin," someone muttered. Richie's gaze softened as he looked at me. "Tamara is the only sister in our family. If I had to claim anyone, it would be her." Yvette stared at me in disbelief. Richie smiled at me, charming a group of female classmates. "I've got to run. Tam, I'll WhatsApp you later." "So Yvette's the one who was lying," another voice chimed in. "It's all your assumptions." "I never said my brother was Richie Neville." "You all jumped to conclusions," Yvette snapped at the onlookers. Complaints rose from the crowd. "What? If it wasn't true, you could have just said so. You clearly wanted us to misunderstand." Others agreed, "Exactly, just trying to show off." "I'm not showing off anything. My dad's the richest man back home, and my brother's a senior manager at Quincy Group here," Yvette retorted, her usual haughty tone faltering slightly. "Tamara, just because you're part of the Neville family doesn't mean you're better than me. My background is just as good." The next moment, Yvette's real brother arrived. "Brother, over here," Yvette called out, grasping at this lifeline. The classmates' dubious gazes followed her gesture. A man in a suit and tie, with an earpiece, walked over. I recognized him immediately. It was Mr. Sanford, the hotel's lobby manager. Mr. Sanford had been waving at Yvette, but when he spotted me, his demeanor instantly became respectful. He bowed deeply to me. "Miss Quincy, what brings you here?" My classmates looked utterly confused. "I'm here for the guilt pool dinner," I replied. "Mr. Sanford, of course, you must be tired. Shall I carry your bag for you?" I smiled and handed him my bag in front of everyone. "Yes, please do." Only then did Mr. Sanford turn to Yvette, asking me, "Do you know her?" Winter spoke up. "Yes, your sister was just saying how Tamara was desperate to come here." "Shouldn't you have a word with her about that?" Mr. Sanford looked alarmed. "Is that true?" Greta added, "It certainly is. I've got it all recorded." She played the recording for everyone to hear. Mr. Sanford's friendly expression vanished. "Miss Quincy, my cousin is thoughtless. I apologize on her behalf. Please don't take offense at her words." He emphasized the word cousin as he spoke. "All right, just make sure you teach her some manners," I said. Of course, of course." Yvette, stunned by this turn of events, finally found her voice. "Brother, why are you acting like this? Is she your—" "Yvette, be quiet." Mr. Sanford cut her off. "Miss Quincy is the daughter of the Quincy Group. This Gilt Royal Hotel belongs to her family. Her presence here is entirely justified. Listen to yourself, I'm embarrassed to be related to you. Moreover, Miss Quincy allowing you to have your birthday party here, instead of kicking you out, shows her generosity." Hearing that the hotel was mine, my classmates' expressions became very uncomfortable. I smiled faintly. "So, now you know whether I've been here before or not?" Yvette avoided my gaze. I continued, "Though you said I work here to make money, in a way, you're not wrong. Most of the money you're spending on this party is going into my family's pocket. So, thank you for that." At this point, Yvette grabbed Zeb's hand and turned to leave. Zeb kept looking back, his face showing extreme embarrassment, as if he wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. I pretended not to notice, half listening to Mr. Sanford's apologies. Mentally, I counted down. 1, 2, 3. A smiling hostess stopped Yvette. "I'm sorry, miss, but this is the VIP elevator. Regular guests should use the elevators on the other side." "Yvette, That's discrimination. Are there different classes of elevators now? Mr. Sanford rushed over, his voice barely concealing his anger. Stop causing trouble. This isn't an elevator you're allowed to use. I walked over slowly. Yvette angrily pulled Zeb in the opposite direction. The hostess gave me a bright smile. This way, Miss Quincy. I turned to my other classmates. Everyone can use this elevator. It's more spacious, and there's less of a wait. No need to go all the way around. Yvette, I won't. Don't worry, I meant everyone except you too, I said with a smile. Because, quite simply, you don't deserve it. Apart from Yvette's best friend Pearl, everyone else joined me in the VIP elevator. A chorus of thank yous echoed through the air. We arrived at the hotel lobby on the ground floor. I turned to face the classmates who had originally attended Yvette Neville's birthday party and said, Everyone, I've prepared a gift bag for each of you. I hope you'll visit our hotel again when you have the chance. Many of these classmates suddenly looked quite ashamed. Mr. Sanford called for the gifts to be distributed. At this moment, Yvette Neville, Zeb Goddard, and Pearl Chamberlain, who had taken the regular lift down, finally arrived. Winter Calvert leaned in and whispered in my ear, Watch closely. The cheater isn't holding her hand anymore. I'd love to interview him about how it feels to have held a fake princess's hand. I sauntered out leisurely. Someone had already brought my pure white Rolls-Royce to the hotel entrance. When Pearl Chamberlain came out and saw the car, her eyes widened in disbelief. I told you it was a Rolls-Royce. Yvette's father is actually quite generous, giving his daughter a Rolls-Royce. The crowd's previously disdainful looks turned to envy as the car body gleamed under the lights. Yvette turned back to look at her classmates. She said haughtily, I was thinking of taking you all for rides often, but now I've changed my mind. You're not worthy of sitting in my car. Pearl, Zeb, let's go. Pearl was overjoyed, brilliant. Then, she said to Zeb in a coy manner, Zeb, you drive. I'm not very familiar with the car. Zeb's face finally broke into a smile, with a sense of vindication. He said, All right, give me the keys. Yvette replied, The keys should be in the car, I suppose. Then, Yvette reached out to open my car door, but couldn't manage to pull it open. I spoke lightly, Stop trying. You can't open it. This is my car. And I can't guarantee you could afford to pay for any damage if you break it. Zeb turned stiffly, Tamara, this car is yours too? The classmates' gazes swept towards me in unison. What, this car belongs to Tamara? I dangled the keys in my hand, what else did you think? Yvette visibly began to panic. She glanced at me timidly. This time I really wasn't lying. My dad did tell me he bought a Rolls-Royce. I nodded knowingly, I understand. We all get it. Your car must be at your old home again because you wanted to keep a low profile and didn't have it sent here. At this moment, a delivery man in uniform walked in. Excuse me, which one of you is Yvette Neville? Yvette responded somewhat eagerly, That's me. Right then, please come to the roadside to sign for your vehicle. The hotel doesn't allow deliveries inside. Pearl asked with a grin, It's the Rolls-Royce, isn't it? The delivery man looked over in shock, What Rolls-Royce? You young people sure have wild imaginations. It's a white electric scooter. The shipping fee is to be paid on delivery, £80. How would you like to pay? The crowd finally couldn't hold back their laughter, which erupted to the heavens. Yvette's face turned beet red, her expression souring to the extreme. In everyone's eyes, she had clearly become a joke. Zeb, overcome with shame, asked me quietly, Tamara, was what you originally wanted to give me that day an invitation to the Gilt Pool dinner? Yes, but I've torn it up now. Don't even think about it for the rest of your life. He hurriedly blocked my path. Can we talk now? I raised my hand and slapped him hard, coldly saying, You're not worthy. Get lost. Winter, you cheating scumbag, stop trying to leech off our Tamara. Go ride on the back of your girlfriend's electric scooter. Back at university. I've become famous overnight. Since I returned to the dormitory, Yvette Neville has kept her curtains drawn, without making a sound. I reckon she's too ashamed to show her face. At this moment, I posted screenshots of Yvette's brazen comments about being proud to be the other woman in our WhatsApp group. A moment later, I casually deleted it. Sorry, I sent that by mistake. But the group had already exploded. Is Yvette mental? How can she be proud of being a homewrecker? Bloody hell, I hate homewreckers more than anything in this world. Don't worry, Tamara, next time I see her, I'll give her a piece of my mind. The group was in an uproar. If earlier they were impressed by my wealth, now they genuinely despised Yvette as a person. Meanwhile, my phone kept buzzing with WhatsApp friend requests from Zeb Goddard. I didn't accept. Tammy, I think there's been a misunderstanding between us. Can we meet up and talk things through? Annoyed, I added him as a friend, intending to block him. The next second, Zeb Goddard's voice call came through. I was about to hang up when suddenly, I had an idea. I put the call on speaker, and Zeb's anxious voice came through. Tamara, you've finally answered my call. I misunderstood you. I shouldn't have listened to Yvette's nonsense. Oh, really? Isn't she your true love? No, absolutely not. I wasn't thinking clearly then. I believed what she said. Rich or not, you've always been a wonderful girl. It's my fault. I'm sorry, but I don't recycle rubbish. People like you just make me sick. The reason I took this call wasn't for any particular purpose, it was simply to let Yvette hear it. Sure enough, I heard her making a racket on her bed, as if venting her anger. Think it's over just like that? Of course not. The next day, Yvette made it to the top of Twitter's trending topics as the girl who got caught lying multiple times. Greta Quincy, known for her concise summaries and excellent organizational skills, created a clear mind map of the entire incident. She posted it on Twitter. My alias was Ordinary Tamara. Yvette's real name was used. After all, she was proud of being a homewrecker. Zeb Goddard was, of course, also a key figure in the drama. Both of them were firmly nailed to the pillory of shame. The post also summarized all of Yvette's previous snide remarks about me. Below, several of my former schoolmates from secondary school popped up. They recognized me as Tamara based on the key information. Honestly, while this girl is hilarious, I feel so bad for our schoolmate Tamara. We went to the same secondary school, and although she was rich, she was super low-key. There were 2 times when students from our school fell seriously ill and ended up in the ICU. And Tamara donated over £100,000 without hesitation to help them through the crisis. Yeah, and Tamara's grades were excellent too. I can't believe she ended up with such a bizarre roommate, it's heartbreaking. Then there were those cursing the cheating boyfriend. And that Zeb Goddard, what a cheating idiot. I'm in the same year as Zeb, and here's something funny, my family owns a watch shop. And I could tell at a glance that the Cartier watch the show-off girl gave him was fake. A few days ago when it was cold, he deliberately wore short sleeves to show it off. My mates and I in the dorm laughed our heads off. That manipulative girl, she even tried to chase after a rich guy in our department before, but he wasn't interested in her. Online, the dirty deeds of these two were laid bare for all to see. They were completely exposed. In a sense, Yvette achieved her wish of being the center of attention, and although Zeb didn't expand his social network, he certainly succeeded in making more people aware of his existence. This is the grand world you wished for, isn't it? I had a peaceful afternoon nap. When I woke up and checked my WhatsApp, it was exploding with messages again. Tamara! Tamara! Yvette's dad came to the school to see the guidance counselor today. Was he there to defend his daughter? I vaguely remembered Yvette saying her father was a wealthy businessman back in their hometown. I wasn't worried though. My dad knows several members of the school board. It would only take a phone call to sort things out. No, not to defend her. You know how she's always been quite extravagant? Well, it turns out that before she started university, her dad won £300,000 in the lottery. It was supposed to be kept in a bank account, but Yvette secretly withdrew it and spent it all. The situation was becoming even more ridiculous. I would love to see Zeb Goddard's face right now. He thought he'd snagged himself a wealthy heiress, but she's just an ungrateful daughter who stole her father's lottery winnings. You won't believe what her dad said. One of my classmates who was there nearly died laughing. Winter started to imitate him. You've spent £290,000 and only brought back £10,000. The family has so many expenses, and we were counting on that £10,000 for groceries. And you're pressuring me to buy you a Rolls-Royce? How did I end up with such a vain daughter? To be honest, if you weren't my daughter, I would have reported you to the police by now. Everyone expressed their sympathy. This poor father, stuck with such a spendthrift daughter. She brought this on herself, and now her reputation was known throughout the entire school. Those who use public opinion to attack others will eventually be consumed by that same force. As I was packing my bags, the dormitory door slammed shut. Yvette returned to the room, glaring at me furiously. "Quincy, are you satisfied now that things have turned out like this?" I calmly replied, "Tell me, which part of this isn't a consequence of your own actions?" She stammered, "But you exposed me online." That's not right. I exposed you? I simply gave you a taste of your own medicine. Besides, I didn't even need to get involved. There were so many witnesses to your downfall, and they all know how to use Twitter. I spoke in a measured tone, smiling as I said, "I didn't confront you before because I thought it was beneath me to bother with someone like you. I never imagined you'd keep digging yourself deeper." As I spoke, I took a step towards her. Yvette took 2 steps back. "Remember this, if I wanted to deal with you, my methods would be far more effective than simply posting about you online. Do you want to test me further?" When she finally reacted, she began to plead, "Please, Tamara, let it go." I was wrong, I really was. I shouldn't have spread rumors about you. Please, what do I need to do for you to forgive me? I ignored her completely and left the dormitory. The next afternoon, I had my dormitory belongings moved out. Richie Neville came as well. He was there to take me out for dinner. That day, after he asked me who had bullied me, I couldn't hold back and told him everything. Since then, our relationship has grown much closer. I often message him on WhatsApp, and he replies quickly when he's not busy. I realized I had previously seen him through a filter of respect for elders. In reality, he's incredibly patient when listening to me and doesn't put on any airs at all. "Uncle Richie, I'll be there soon. Please wait for me a moment," he said. "No rush, take your time." But as soon as I walked out of the dormitory, I saw Zeb Goddard approaching, looking disheveled. "I've been waiting here for you all night." I didn't even give him a glance. He truly has a talent for self-delusion. "Tamara, I was blinded before. I foolishly believed what Yvette said." Could you possibly? Stop right there. Is it so hard to admit you're just a gold digger? But he wouldn't stop. He kept following me all the way to the university gates, talking nonstop. Richie Neville, dressed in an impeccable suit, exuded an air of distinguished elegance. His icy eyes softened with a smile when he saw me. "Tamara." My mood instantly improved, and I walked over to take his hand. The man's warm palm enveloped mine. Zeb Goddard caught up, staring intently at our joined hands. His face turned pale as he stammered weakly, "What's your relationship?" "Our relationship? It's none of your business." Richie led me past, then reached out with his free hand to grab Zeb's collar. "How dare you bully the little princess I wouldn't dream of harming a hair on." With that, Richie released him and made a gesture to his bodyguards behind him. The burly bodyguards immediately stepped in front of Zeb, and one of them landed a punch squarely on his face. He fell back weakly, scrambling to retreat. The 2-meter-tall bodyguard growled, "Stop harassing Miss Quincy from now on. You're not even fit to polish her shoes. Now get lost." I got into Richie's car. But the man didn't let go of my hand, and I could feel my heart involuntarily speeding up. "Uncle." He released my hand, smiling. "Feeling shy?" "Not at all." My face felt hot, so I quickly changed the subject. "That girl who bullied me, her father came to the university." Richie nodded. "I know." "You know?" In a flash of insight, I realized something. "Uncle Richie, did you arrange for him to come?" I wouldn't put it quite like that. This father had been wanting to find his daughter, Richie said, his eyes downcast. "I simply lent him a hand, didn't I?" I smiled. "That's right. He ruffled my hair. I won't go easy on anyone who bullies you. The drama was over. My life went on as usual. Half a month later, on my birthday. Before making a wish, I sneaked a glance at the man sitting on the sofa, then closed my eyes and made my birthday wish. In a quiet corner of the house, Richie asked me, "What did you wish for just now?" "I'm not telling you. It's a secret. If I say it out loud, it might not come true." He smiled, his deep dark eyes gazing at me. "That's not necessarily true. Perhaps if you tell me, I can help make it come true. I want a handsome, mature, considerate, and gentle boyfriend." That wasn't really it. What I wished for was for Richie Neville to be my boyfriend. He walked towards me. "How about considering your uncle?" My face lit up with joy, and I nodded. He reached out to wrap an arm around my waist, kissing my lips softly. "Don't just nod, say something." "Yes, I'd love that."